Today we're going to be doing the 219 primary chain drive on my Eride Pro SS. So I have everything here that came with the kit. This is the QR code that you can scan. It comes with I chose orange chain because they didn't have blue. Sprocket that's going to go onto the back, and then the primary drive sprocket that's going to go on the motor. So one thing that I do highly recommend that you start this project off with after you've received everything is to figure out a way to get this nut off. So it is a specialty nut, and it goes right here. So I've used different techniques for this. So it does kind of go like all the way inside once it's on. So what I ended up doing this time is I put a flathead screwdriver on the lip, and then I just hit it with a hammer, like I'd say like 5-6 times. It loosened up enough for me to get it off. Another technique that you can do, you grab a pair of pliers and you put them in between the 2 points, and then basically you just grip it and you can turn it. You can also put like a secondary wrench or anything on here to help and turn it as well, but I decided to just try the flathead method, and that came right off. So why I say that's really important is you really can't do anything until you can get this nut off. And so with the kit, I also ended up buying the Dirty Bike bolt that goes through that. This is supposed to be stronger, and I can just put, it looks like I put a 15/16 socket on that, and same with this. There are videos on this already with a Sur-On. I haven't seen anything with the Eride. Apparently it's supposed to be exactly the same, so we're gonna see if it is. It might be different for you if you have the stock cover on. For me, I have this aftermarket cover, and this right here, which tightens the chain, this is the chain tensioner. It was blocking the opening, so I had to loosen the 4 bolts. So one here, this is for the motor, and then 2 on the other side, and then this dropped, which then gave me access to this. It is tight for me, so I do have the ball style Allen keys, and that made it really easy to get off. Pulley that's on the motor, you're gonna need a 24mm socket. I don't have a 24, but I have a 15/16, and it fits. I just used a Phillips screwdriver and pushed it all the way through. When it did pop out, there was a washer that fell on the ground, so just make sure you put that back. So you are gonna have this chain, so you're just gonna move it out of the way when you pull this out. So, okay. I was like, I don't think you have to pull the shock off. So these are the 6 bolts that need to come off of this to take it off. I ended up just using a impact, but they weren't very tight on here. So if you're unsure which way the sprockets go, there is a QR code, but it says right here, mount sprockets with numbers facing in towards bike. So I had thought numbers facing out. You can see the number right there, 49-219. And there's also a lip you can see here. So the lip is gonna face up. I had a friend suggest to me to use WD-40 to spray it. Spray the back, kind of help it get in there. And then use a heat gun, and then we're gonna use a pry bar. And basically you kind of pry against it just softly. You turn it, you pry it, you turn it, you pry it. And the heat gun helps the oil penetrate, and then helps it to expand, and then it kind of loosens it up a little bit. Unfortunately, I've misplaced my heat gun and I can't find it. So we're gonna use a blowtorch. So let's do it. Okay, so I finally got it. So what I ended up doing is just blow torching the ever-living hell out of this sprocket, and then with this behind this, using a hammer and slightly tapping like this and going around, and I got it off. There's no way I am touching that because it is gonna be crazy hot. Oh, almost got me. Okay, so important to note that there is a keyway, which is this right here. And that's what holds the sprocket from turning. Okay, so this is the keyway right here. And remember, you want the numbers, which is right here, 20-219, you want it facing in the bike. So find the keyway, line this up. This thing back in there. Again, remember the small side bushing goes on the bigger sprocket and the longer one goes on the smaller one. So we're gonna just get that back in there, get the chain on, and then that'll give us tension enough to be able to tighten this down. Every chain kit is gonna be like the belt. So for instance, mine doesn't have a master link in it, so it's just like the belt. This is like a go-kart chain, so it's a lot stronger, so it won't stretch. So you're gonna put this on first, and then it's gonna be just like the belt, and we're gonna get it up and over that. What you have to end up doing is making sure that the jack shaft is completely square with your swing arm. It has to be perfect. And then, so what I ended up doing is putting the bolt on this side and then a screwdriver in through this side, and then push the screwdriver out once it got in. The bolt that runs the jack shaft, I'm gonna put a little bit of Loctite on that and then tighten that down. So now to tighten this, I did just use the impact. One thing to note about this kit is they do recommend that it has about a 1/2 inch of play. The motor is completely loose all the way. The motor is completely pushed up, and I have not a 1/2 inch. I'm very, very tight, to the point where it basically isn't loose at all. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. This is a different chain style than normal 219s. This one's supposed to not stretch, so I'm curious to know what's gonna happen long term. So thanks for sticking around for the video. All right, we got that on now.